of what Miller's Court would have been like. So what I find works well is that I give you the background here, but for what was actually discovered, we'll go round through that section and it'll help you visualise things much better. As long as you remember that the actual location is somewhere underneath here. Now, the victim on this occasion in many ways doesn't fit Jack's usual customer profile. She's quite an attractive 24-year-old Irish-born Catholic prostitute, Mary Kelly. And by the standards of this area, she was actually doing very well for herself because she had her own room here in Miller's Court. So that's a lot better off than any of the other victims. Now, at 1 o'clock in the morning on the 9th of November 1888, she was seen by an acquaintance of hers of some 3 years standing, George Hutchinson, in nearby Thrall Street. Now, Thrall Street is just down there on the left, down the main road on the left. And she approaches Hutchinson and she asks him if he's got any money. But he spent all his money going off looking for work that day, so that's why he's walking the streets that hour. So he says he has none, she says that she has to get some. And as she makes her way further up Thrall Street, a man coming in the opposite direction taps her on the shoulder, says something, and they both laugh. Now Hutchinson is surprised to see her with such a well-dressed man in this area. And of course this is the height of the Ripper scheme, and you've got this element of Gentleman Jack running through here. So he's suspicious. He's got nothing else to do, so he hangs around. The couple talk, he hears her say, "That'll be all right." The man replies, "You'll be all right for what I want." And having concluded their negotiations, they make their way past Hutchinson on their way here to Miller's Court. He follows, sees them go inside, and he hangs around for something like 45 minutes. But nothing having happened, he finally gives up and goes off. But it seems it's shortly after that that the murder takes place. And because this is unique amongst the Ripper murders in the sense that this is the only one to take place indoors, so thus protected from any danger of accidental chance discovery, Jack's got all the time in the world to give full vent to his creative capacities. And certainly on the body of Mary Kelly, he excels himself. By the time it's finished, her body is hardly recognisable as human. The room, they say, more like some kind of butcher shop than a cheap lodging room. And so what was discovered, I'll explain at the next stop. So we've got to go around this way. Okay. Mary Kelly's body wasn't discovered until the next morning when somebody arrived to collect the rent. See, that's why she was so anxious about the money aspect of things. So, as the newspapers reported, her body was found lying on the bed of the room. Her throat was cut deeply, in fact so much so that it was hanging, that the head was hanging to the body by the skin. The forehead had been skinned, the nose had been cut off, there were cuts in her cheeks and her lips. Both her breasts had been cut off, her abdomen had been opened, most of her internal organs taken out and placed either between her feet or on the bedside table. The left arm, like the head, was hanging to the body by the skin. Her other hand had been pushed into her abdomen, and the thighs, down to the feet, had been stripped of the flesh. So, grisly stuff. What the newspapers didn't report, because one eyewitness put it, they were very obviously there, the entrails were strung around the picture rails like Christmas decorations, and lumps of raw flesh had been stuck on the nails holding the pictures to the walls. And after that, the murder stopped, somewhat inexplicably so, because usually when you've got maniac murderers, there's little doubt that Jack's not quite right at the head. Usually they carry on and on and on, and cease only when they're caught or they're stopped. Well, Jack wasn't caught, so it always raises this question, why did he stop? And because it's so totally open-ended, people have ever since been able to come along and add their own interpretation. And it's absolutely limitless. That's why almost every year, usually around about November time, a new Jack the Ripper book comes out, invariably claiming to reveal for the first time the true identity of Jack the Ripper. And usually there's documentaries and newspaper articles to support it. And lots of people get interested and come on Jack the Ripper tours. So it'll always, carry on. But in some ways it's become sort of a media sensation, which is somewhat removed from the reality. But what we're going to do is we're going to finish the tour off at Liverpool Street, and we'll be back in the City of London. And it's really quite amazing how everything changes again. So you'll notice that by the end of the street. Okay, so let's go.